worst Mother's Day ever. That's what my wife called it. And yes, I am talking about the most recent Mother's Day, Sunday, May 13th. At 6:30 p.m., I received a frantic call from my wife telling me that she was taking my middle son, Logan, to the emergency room. But we'll get to that in a minute. I woke up about 7 a.m. like I normally do to the sound of the country music countdown blaring on my AM radio. I pried a 2-year-old foot out of my face, tried to get the behind away as well, as my he'll be 3 next month, little son made his way into my bedroom the night before. We don't start off with him in the bed. He just kind of sneaks his way into the bedroom, climbs up into the bed, and then secures his position at the top of the bed, clinging onto the pillow for dear life, and then I get whatever's left. So we start the morning routine, getting everybody bathed. I hop into the shower, and my wife starts what begins to be like an assembly line process where she hands me the first child. I get them all bathed and scrubbed down. I pass it back out to my wife. She dries them off. She passes the next child in. I get them bathed and scrubbed down. Pass it out to my wife. She gets them dried off and dressed. Third child, to get them bathed and scrubbed down, pass it out. And then I finally get to take my own shower. So we start off the morning like we normally do, getting breakfast. They're asking for pancakes. All we have is cereal. They want chocolate milk. All we have is milk. So nothing too out of the norm. They're not too rambunctious, but as you can see, it's kind of a normal process. Before we load off to church, I notice on my cell phone that there is a text message saying, we're doing the 10:30 a.m. children's church service. Now, we've got kids in the program, and we fully believe that if you've got kids in the system, you should volunteer. But it's Mother's Day, and it's the 10:30 a.m. service. We got 3 services, 9, 10:30, and 12. And 10:30 is the most attended service. And 2-year-olds are special. So we get to church, attend the 9 a.m. service, really enjoy our time, speed off into the class, and we're getting in there, we're putting in our name tags, we're getting things set up, and the folks that were in there before serving were out of the class so quickly, I don't even remember what they looked like. And the bags that were associated with the children, I have no idea whose is whose because there was no exchange of communication. There's toys littered all over the room, and little kids running all over the place. We're checking kids out, we're checking kids in. Now at our church, every child gets changed before they leave. And the men aren't allowed to do it. And my wife has a very sensitive sense of smell. As I'm checking in one of the children, I hear my wife over at the changing table go, "Ah!" And I look over and I see a child has dropped what appears to be the size and weight of a bowling ball sized toy on her foot. And I hear my wife grumble under her voice, "Worst Mother's Day ever." There's nothing I can do for her. So I order all the kids, get over to the table, line up straight. I'm bribing them with little Dixie cups of goldfish. Come on, get over there, you know. Giving them the cups of goldfish, trying to wrangle them up. The rest of it goes without too much event. We hurry up out of there. We get home. All 3 of our children are tired and they're hungry. And I have yet to pack for my trip. Oh, did I mention, it's Mother's Day and I have to catch a flight at 3:50 p.m. to go to St. Louis. And I'll be gone until 6:50 p.m. on Tuesday. So my wife's downstairs getting the children food, getting them ready. I'm packing. We finally pack and load up the minivan. Yes, I said minivan. We get to the airport, drop myself off, I hop on the plane. And as I enter into the room in St. Louis, my cell phone goes off. And my wife is frantically calling me, telling me, I'm taking the boys to the emergency room. I'm in St. Louis, hundreds of miles away, and I'm thinking, what can I do? So I asked her, what happened? She said, well, Clark had put a monkey backpack onto Logan. There's a little monkey and a tail on the back. and had dragged him around the house and flung him into the wall. His face was busted up, his nose was swollen, the side of his face was swollen, and I'm thinking, he's not dead. And it's going to be $100 to check him into the emergency room. So a little debate starts, which my wife soundly wins. Then she proceeds to take him to the emergency room. Now, 3 children with one parent. Look, my wife's a great lady. She's a very capable woman. But 3 children under the age of 5, that's a lot of work for anybody. And it just goes better when we're both there. So as she proceeds to the hospital, I'm grabbing my cell phone. I'm calling everybody I can think of. Get over to the hospital, go to the emergency room, provide some physical present support for my wife. But it's Mother's Day, and everybody's spending time with their families. So eventually I get the idea of calling my nanny. And she asked me the appropriate question, well, where are you? I explained to her I'm in St. Louis on business. She's like, oh, let me get my clothes on. So she gets down to the hospital, assists my wife, ends up working out to where he doesn't have any broken bones, he doesn't have a broken nose. My wife calls me about 9:30 p.m. that night, and she tells me that everything is fine. And she says, you know, this has been the worst Mother's Day ever. And considering everything that happened, and that nobody really seriously got hurt, I hope that this remains the worst Mother's Day ever.